Crystal Palace against Liverpool this weekend. Has Arne Slot been forced into using Alexander Isak quicker than he wanted to? Because the last time I saw him, he was running across the pitch during half-time, doing some fitness work, having warmed up in the first 45 minutes against Southampton. Crook.
Yeah, I think so. I don't really see the alternatives. I'll tell you who surprised me, actually. I'm not saying he's going to start, but he's making more of an impact than I thought he would, is Kaza. I think he looks really sharp whenever he's played. And at the moment, Isak doesn't, so maybe that is one possibility. But I think that's the reason why Arne Slot was so frustrated, because obviously having skipped the whole of pre-season, Isak is not quite up to full speed yet. And you can't carry any passengers away from home at Selhurst Park. Arne Slot will be aware of that. This is a match between the two unbeaten teams in the Premier League. Is it 16, 17 games without defeat for Palace? I think ideally Ekitike would have started, and that moment of madness has cost Liverpool dearly. Having said that, a British record player, it's not the worst option to throw in, is he?
No, something has got to give here. 17 games unbeaten for Crystal Palace, Liverpool with the 100% record so far. I think you're absolutely right to mention Federico Chiesa. He's been quietly brilliant for Liverpool whenever he's featured this season. I can't believe he's not in the Champions League squad. I think that's why he was so determined to make an impact whenever he's come onto the pitch. And actually, in the aftermath of all of the discussions about taking his shirt off and getting sent off, it was Federico Chiesa that came in for the most praise from Arne Slot during those discussions, because he was like, hold on a second, it's all right taking your shirt off and pointing to me. And I do actually understand why Ekitike did that, Scott, because he's sort of saying, by the way, I'm here, I cost a lot of money, and I'm delivering right from the very off. And I totally get that. There's a bit of a rivalry going on between him and Isak that's starting to develop. We quite like that as a little storyline. But Chiesa provided this brilliant assist, unselfish assist, when he could have shot himself. And the ball over the top wasn't bad either. It was very much a team goal, not necessarily an Ekitike goal. He just provided the finishing touch. But he has been terrific, hasn't he? And a couple of years ago, he was a fantastic player. The injuries just took their toll.
Yeah, that's been the major problem. And people, when they say last season they didn't bring anyone in, well, he was the one. And he's sort of, almost undercover, really, and he didn't play too much. The fact that I think Arne Slot didn't get rid of him over the summer, and they clearly could have done, I think tells me that he sees him as a really good lad, first and foremost, really good person to be in the dressing room. They're the type of characters that you need if you are to win a Premier League. And although he didn't play many minutes on the pitch, clearly he must be a good guy, because do you know what? I know what you're saying about the sort of the rivalry between Ekitike and Isak, but they've got to be careful there. And Arne Slot, for him to be as critical as he was in a public way, he's trying to send a message there to Ekitike that it's not about you, it is about the team. So he needs to be very, very careful. And he didn't need to do that at all. The only talking he needs to do is stick the ball in the back of the net and play well, and then shut up. He doesn't need to do anything else at all, because Isak is not fit, and this was a great opportunity for him to really show, where he has hit the ground running, that he should be the main man, despite the money being spent on Isak. So for him to do that now not only gives Isak a chance to obviously start, but also, in the manager's eyes, that's a bit of a negative thing, which you've already seen him come out and be critical of that. And you don't want to do that with your manager.
Florian Wirtz has been benched for the last two games. Does he come back into the team here? I mean, Scott, what have you made of him so far? Because there was a staunch defence of him by Kevin Hatchard on Monday's pod. You won't be too surprised about that, because dear Kevin, her Hatchard is very much a Germophile. And I suppose they don't get much wrong. I mean, Michael Edwards and Richard Hughes don't get much wrong in recruitment. I think he'll be fine. I just do think that it's going to take time for him to get up to the physicality of the Premier League. Would you concur with that? Have you seen that from him so far?
Yeah, and when I saw the running order come in last night, I thought, I'm going to have a listen to what Kev said. And to be honest with you, it was short. And I'm glad that, what have we settled on now? Germophile, is that the word?
No, is it? He said Deutschophile, actually,
okay,
didn't he?
Deutschophile.
Okay, but Germophile sounds a little bit better.
It's nicht spreche Deutsch. So look, it's going to take time. If we all thought that everyone who was signed is going to hit the ground running, then I think we're being a little bit naive. Now, from a personal point of view, Florian Wirtz will be thinking, well, I didn't want it to be me. I want it to be someone else. But as much as we say that Liverpool on paper have improved, and they really have, the fact that they have that consistency still from last season, the fact that they didn't really make that signings, only Chiesa was the only one, and they have that, as I say, I use the word consistency of the players, that even if the new ones come in and don't do too well, you've still got players who have already been there for a couple of years that can stand up and score. And that's exactly what's happened. Liverpool haven't played well. Wirtz hasn't played particularly well. But you can see he's a player. You can see why so much money has been spent, albeit I think it's probably a bit too much. But you do what you do to get him. He's a great talent. He's taken his time to get used to, maybe off the pitch as well as on the pitch. But I have no doubt he'll be a very, very, very good Liverpool player. Just I don't know when he's going to start being that very good Liverpool player. He wants it to be right now, and he'll have to show it in training that things haven't started too well for him on a personal level. But actually, it's a great team to come into because they're winning.
Palace themselves haven't improved personnel. They've probably gone backwards in terms of the playing squad, but they're still performing at a high level. 17 games, as we mentioned, unbeaten. Biggest test of the season so far, Crookmeister. But they are live contenders here, aren't they? I mean, they've got a good team that can cause people problems.
Yeah, absolutely. And Liverpool have had some difficulty at Selhurst Park in the past when title challenges have faltered. So Arne Slot is going to know his team are in a game here. I just wonder physically if this might be a bridge too far for Palace, because they've been reliant really on the same hardcore players, the same 11 virtually week in, week out. There was a suggestion before the West Ham game that Jean-Philippe Mateta was looking just a little bit fatigued and maybe taken out of the team. He scored, so obviously that wasn't a huge issue. But I think Liverpool's energy levels could be a problem for Palace and for Oliver Glasner. And as you say, this is their biggest test of the season. Just on Wirtz, when you look at the Palace midfield, which is so key to their success, I don't think he will play this weekend. I think Arne Slot will go for the more tried and trusted, that Gravenberch, McAllister, Szoboszlai triple header that served them so well last season. I'm not sure this is the game for Florian Wirtz, because he's going to be up against the likes of Will Hughes and Adam Wharton in that midfield area.
Wonder if he might come off the flank and Gakpo might go down the middle as a central striker, which would mitigate the fact that they don't want to play Isak from the start as well. You mentioned Mateta there. Last time out against West Ham, got his 50th goal for Crystal Palace. He had some speculation this summer, but wasn't necessarily the subject of heavy interest. Is he going to be the next piece of the crown jewels that are up for auction from the Palace, Crook?
Well, I was surprised there wasn't more interest in him in the summer. He was regularly linked with Manchester United, but I'm not sure that was anything more than speculation. When you look at the dearth of number 9s, particularly those proven in the Premier League, I'd have thought the clubs would have been queuing up for him. I might have taken him to Newcastle ahead of Johan Wissa, to be brutally honest with you, but obviously that didn't happen. In terms of next cab off the rank, Mark Gay's going to leave at the end of the season. We all know that. Adam Wharton, I think if he can stay fit, and that's a big if because he's picked up a lot of injuries along the way, he's got a lot of suitors as well. So it's a challenge. And actually, I was told a few weeks ago that the Crystal Palace were actively preparing for the departure of Oliver Glasner at the end of the season. So I think that could be their biggest headache.
Wow, that's a big summer then coming for Crystal Palace if that is to be the case. First of all, then they need to negotiate a home game against Liverpool.